What's up everybody? We have a jam-packed video today. First, I'm gonna give you an update on the lawn and the test plots. And then after that, we're gonna get our second mow of the year in. Then we are gonna put down the brand new EvenFlow surfactant to get ahead of the heat that we have coming. And then after that, we are going to overseed our side lawn with Dark 30. And then finally, once we're done with all of that, we are gonna put down Neighbor's Envy, and I'm gonna give you the 24 and 48 hour results from that. So stay tuned, tons to do. Let's get into it. So what a difference a couple weeks makes after putting down some fertilizer. Now, obviously, the fertilizer did not go down that even because of that stupid Scott spreader. Right in here is not as dark green. Same with this strip right here. You can see where areas got more than others. But for the most part, we're looking pretty dark. I mean, the difference between us and the neighbors is pretty stark, especially like over here. He doesn't fertilize very much. Look how much darker green that is. Now these vole tunnels are taking a long time to fill in, which kind of sucks, but I've only mowed this lawn one time, so we're gonna get a mow in, but I just kind of want to show you what we're working with before the mow. Over here, me and the boys did get out all of the small bush stumps here, and we're gonna be putting in some hostas. I know, boring, but you don't really have to take care of them. They grow easy. I think we're gonna put in 3, so 1 here, 1 in the middle, and 1 on the end here. We'll get rid of these 2 bushes as well, and this bush over here, and then the hydrangea I cut down, and it is starting to grow back because it was out of control before this. So this bed is a work in progress, but like I said, only 1 mow on this so far this year, and since the last video I made, there has been a huge change. Also, this spot is starting to fill itself in like I said it would. This was all dead here, but that Kentucky bluegrass just finds a way to fill everything in. So once we mow this is gonna look super good, especially the sun shining right now. So everything should be popping pretty well and we'll get some stripes down. As for the plots in the backyard, they are starting to come in super good. These things were just laying dormant, I guess. The Dark Legend didn't come back that well, as you can see. The Dark 30 came back a little better, but you can still see there's a little dead spot there. The Fireball Hat Trick came back pretty dang good, and it is dark. Hoping you can tell the difference in how dark this is compared to my regular lawn. Kentucky bluegrass here is looking pretty dark. So the plots have bounced back way better than they were from the last video. So that is a very good sign. Thunderhead and our turf type tall fescue has bounced back. So there wasn't as much kill as I thought there was, and it is starting to get much darker. Back lawn is looking pretty dang good over on this section. But over here, these vole and mulch trails plus Kilo peeing when he comes down the steps. This is what it is. This is always gonna be here, but we need to figure out something here because this would take a very long time for this stuff to fill in. Kilo keeps digging in it too, which isn't helping things. For the most part, it's looking pretty good. Oh yeah, it looks way darker from this side. So yeah, the grass is bouncing back pretty well back here after putting down that dark matter, ammonium sulfate. This side is also starting to bounce back a little bit. The plan is we're gonna be overseeding this side with Dark 30. This would all fill in eventually. Same here, even though this is a pretty big spot. This is where all those dead leaves were sitting. But for the most part, everything's bouncing back compared to what it was, like I said it would. Not that worried about this side. If I just pounded this with nitrogen all spring, it would all fill in, but I want to put down that Dark 30 and see what it looks like. So the first thing we're gonna do today is get in a mow, and we are back to real mowing. We're gonna bring out the Greensmaster 1600, lay down some stripes, and see what this front lawn can do after the second mow of the year, which is crazy to say, and it's almost June.
Something that both of us have always wanted.
I'm a little rusty. I forgot to move the camera. First mow of the year on camera, so. But the lawn looks better with it cut down even, but it obviously still has a lot of work. I don't know what's going on right here with this line. It's obviously kind of following the vole trail, but it looks like fertilizer almost in a straight line. You can see it this way too. I don't understand what's going on here. But this needs a lot more even coverage of the fertilizer just because of that whole Scott's debacle we had where I didn't even know where I was putting it down. And it's due for another app anyway. What I'm gonna do is put down Neighbor's Envy. Putting down a liquid's gonna make this much more even. It's gonna get a fast color response and just make it look better overall anyway. So I think that's what it's missing right now with some liquid apps, just to get that much more even color and just give it a little more of a pop. Hopefully it starts spreading itself in a little thicker as well. But down over here, you got a lot of fertilizer, looks like, because it is much more dark than the rest of the lawn and just looks healthier. Same thing like right in this spot, it looks really healthy. So I think the fertilizer was bouncing off and bouncing back in, so it came in a lot thicker right here. So there's just certain spots in the area that got a lot better coverage than others. It just needs to be evened out is all. So what I think I'm gonna do right now is actually go over the opposite way with the mass port because it has suction and get up a lot of this debris because there's like a bunch of branches in the grass. There's a bunch of like this yellow stuff coming from this maple tree, like little seeds dropping down. So I wanna get all that cleaned up and I can't do that with a reel mower. It just doesn't have the suction that a rotary does. So I'm gonna go over it the opposite way with the mass port just to suck up everything. And then the next video for sure is gonna be killing weeds because the dandelions are kind of out of control in here. I've picked a few, but there's just so many that have popped up. We have clover coming in here, dandelions just kind of everywhere. So next video is definitely gonna be on some weed control for sure. Whoever decided to put this stupid ass Briggs & Stratton motor on here, or engine is, pisses me off. There's no primer, there's no choke, there's no nothing on this thing. So it's just pull till it starts and it never wants to start. I don't know. All right, we're looking much better with all that debris off. I don't know how much is showing up on camera, but it just looks so much cleaner. And the thing that sucks about that mass port is that it is a great mower when it comes to cutting. There's just everything else wrong with it. It takes forever to start. The self-propel is shot basically. When I try using it, it almost stops it. It's like a brake. So there's something wrong with the belt or something I need to look at. It's hard to push right now, which is a pain. But seriously, the cut quality is unbelievable. I love the cut quality and I love how much it sucks up. And I think the cut quality comes from it pulling the grass up and then slicing it off. So there's no suction with reel mowers, and that's what you get with that mass port. But I just don't like cutting with it. It's a pain in the ass. But the cut quality is just like unbelievable. So love-hate relationship with that thing. It still serves a purpose, obviously, getting up debris and stuff like that. But the rest of the yard looking much, much better. So I guess you guys haven't watched since we put in the hoop. The kids have been loving this Pro Dunk hoop. Been going crazy on it, dunking. So this was a very good investment. We still have to add the light above it, but the install was fairly easy and it looks great. I love this hoop. So very good hoop if you guys are looking for one that has a lifetime warranty on dunking. Now I started making a video over on this side about overseeding, and we were about to overseed, and then all of a sudden crazy winds and rain came in. So we decided to stop, not do it. But here's the footage from a couple days ago when we were about to overseed. So step one in the overseed is to mow low. And what I'm doing is gonna use a little cheat code this time. and used my new robot mower my friend from the West Coast sent me. It is a Luba Mini, and this goes down to 0.8 inches. So right now I have it cutting at 0.8 inches, which should be plenty low enough for an overseed, and it's doing work right now. This grass has been being cut at about 1 inch by Luba, and it's pretty low already. I could probably get away with overseeding here, but we're gonna bring it down to 0.8 as it's going around this tree right now. And we are gonna call that our mowing low. So we're not gonna have to cut low or bag or anything like that. We're gonna have the robot do it for us. All right, the robot mower is almost done and ran out of battery before it finished this side. The one thing that sucks about that thing is the battery's not very big. So it doesn't even get one section of my yard done before it has to go back and charge. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Otherwise, it cuts great. It's been working flawless, basically. But what I realized is I want to put down this product, EvenFlow, before I tear up the grass and seed, so I can get this into the soil and just water it in tonight. Now, for those of you that don't know what this is a surfactant. I just dropped a video about it on my main channel. I'll put it up in the corner if you guys want to check it out. Basically, what this is, a professional golf course formulation inside a gallon bottle that's available for homeowners. What I found with surfactants is these things are crazy expensive for very good ones. And I wanted to find a good one for a homeowner to use. And there's like a hole in the market. It's like either it's a cheap product that's cheaply priced and it's a watered down version of a professional based one, or you have to spend crazy amounts of money for a professional based one because they're only made for golf courses and golf courses have money. Well, what I found is there's so many different distributors and vendors. So every person's taking a cut along the way for these professional versions that they sell to golf courses. And what I just did is go straight to the source, cut out all the middlemen, and that way it can be priced lower and we get that professional 100% active ingredient inside a bottle. So that's the reason I came up with this. And we're gonna put it in my lawn. The great thing about this product is it lasts for 120 days after 2 applications. Now with those cheap ones that you can find on Amazon and stuff, you're reapplying that stuff every 2 to 4 weeks, which is a pain in the ass. Me personally, I don't like spraying if I don't have to. So for something like this that's gonna last 120 days is awesome. That's basically your whole summer. So that's another huge point about these professional based ones. You don't have to put it down as much and it just stays in your soil and goes to work. Now what a surfactant does, for those of you that don't know, is basically it breaks the surface tension of water so it can absorb evenly across your lawn. All the nutrients that you put down, like fertilizer, soil amendments, things like that are gonna spread evenly across your lawn. And products are just gonna work better when you put it down because it's gonna be even in your soil. It's gonna penetrate better. It's gonna hold longer as well because this has, not to get nerdy, multi-point polymers compared to a single point polymer, which basically means it's gonna stick to the soil for a very long time and not let go. Like baby shampoo kind of does the same thing, but that's gone after a week after it goes through the soil. Soil microbes eat it up very fast. It gets washed away fast. This is totally different because it hangs on to soil for a very, very long time. So enough about the science stuff. Basically, this helps with drought a lot. And if you have hard clay soil or sandy soil, this is a great product for that, to get that water to stay in your soil longer. Now this calls for 8 ounces per 1,000 square feet, and you need to put down 2 applications of this a week apart. I'm putting down the first application now. So I have 3,500 square feet in the main lawn. So I'm gonna put down 28 ounces of this stuff in 3.5 gallons. So it's 1 gallon per 1,000 square feet. So what I like to do is fill my backpack up like 1/3 of the way or halfway, and then I put the product in and then I mix it up. That way it's just not going to the bottom and sticking to the plastic. This stuff is very thick. It's like a very thick gel. And that's why you have to put it in 2 separate applications because it's just so thick and it would be hard to spray it. I also would recommend just putting this down by itself. This needs to be watered in. It's thick as it is. I just wouldn't mix stuff with it because it's already so thick. That way you don't run into any clogging issues. Now this year I got a gallon measuring cup. My buddy from the West Coast helped us out and actually sent us one because he was sick of seeing us with that little tiny measuring cup. So shout out to my West Coast buddy. Look how thick this stuff is. It's crazy. I mean, just looking at the bubbles in this, it reminds me of like a gel. I mean, look how slimy that is. And that's a good thing because that means you know it's gonna be sticking to those soil particles. It's crazy, it's hard to even rinse off the side of this. You're gonna want to use a drill to mix this stuff up just because it is so thick. I keep repeating that. If you get localized dry spots, this is gonna help tremendously with it. It's basically what it was made for. And all that means, localized dry spots, is spots that constantly get dry in your lawn. There's probably certain areas, because the soil dries out the fastest there, water repels on top. It's hard for it to soak in those areas, so they instantly go dry first. I know there's specific areas in my lawn that get dry first every single year. Same thing with on the hills, because it just runs down and doesn't soak in. So now that we got that EvenFlow down, I'm going to attempt to do a overseed on this side lawn in 3 hours or less. So it's already scalped. I mowed down with Luba. So it's 0.8 inches, which is plenty low enough. So the next step is going to be to scarify this lawn, make the grooves in it, get out all this dead material so we can get that seed to soil contact. Well, it looks like I forgot to push record. But we did this whole side. And I just want to kind of show you what the grooves look like from this Scarify attachment. You can see all those lines. That's where our seed's going to go in. And don't be afraid to tear this up. It's what you need to do, because you want that dirt showing. So this is a great Scarify. You can see all those lines. And that's exactly where we want our seed to fall into. Every time I do this, I'm always amazed at how much stuff comes up. Crazy amounts. Like, I was not expecting this much to come up. I just did this last year. To have that much material come up through one pass is pretty mind-blowing. And I still need to go north-south now. We just did east-west. So we have one more time to go through this whole lawn to make sure everything we get up as much as possible and make as many grooves as possible for this new seed to come in. So go do what you like. Make sure you do it right. You may find out that yourself that means nothing ruins everything. You can't go forcing something if it's just not. I still cannot understand how this much stuff came up after 1 year. This is insanity. So much. Just craziness how thick these piles are. Like, what is even going on? All right, let's clean it all up. A lot of it's getting caught between the deck and the plastic from the bagger. There is a house in New Orleans. Oh, this is a pain in my ass. It's just too thick. Yeah, it's just caking up under there. Last try, then going to plan B. Well, the mower won't suck it up because it's too thick and a little too wet. We got a lot of rain last night. So now I started raking up with the regular rake and my rake's broken. It basically snapped in half. So now I'm with this metal rake out here, which is actually working okay, but I don't know if we're gonna hit our deadline. So this is kind of turning into an overseed from hell a little bit, trying to clean this up, but we'll get through it. All right, so I just ended up blowing everything with the leaf blower. We got one giant pile here. Another giant pile over here. This is crazy for only 1 year. I just don't get it. I mean, if I go down low, you can see how it's not a small pile at all. I got 2 bags full on the rider and there's another pile down there. So all out of 2,000 square feet or so. That just so much dead stuff. All right, we finished everything up and now we're gonna put down seed, but I do wanna show you what the ground looks like before we do. Over here will be a good example. Can you see that cross pattern? You can see exactly where I scarified everything and exactly where all the seed's gonna end up. So this is a perfect seed bed for the seed to germinate in. This is exactly what you want if you can do it. Same thing in the sun. You can see all the rows where all that seed's gonna go in and germinate. So today we're gonna put down night shift dark 30. This stuff is insanely dark. If you looked in the test plot last year, you could see how dark it is. Now for those of you in a super cold climate like me, I live in Minnesota, there is a good chance this is probably gonna die off after winter. So this is kind of like an overseed at the beginning of the season and you just overseed again and again every year if you want to keep that same cultivar of grass. Perennial ryegrass just doesn't do very well in the cold. Now, if you're in places south of here like Iowa, southern Wisconsin, Illinois, Kansas, things like that, Kansas might be a little warm, but in the Northeast, perennial ryegrass does a lot better in those areas full year around. But here, it's basically for a season and then a lot of it's gonna die off. Some will come back, but there is a lot that will die off just because of the harsh winters that we get here in Minnesota. I know that going into this. I know this is gonna make my lawn look unbelievable for the next 5-6 months. So I'm willing to put in the work to do that. Also, this stuff does very well in the shade. I have very shade tolerant Kentucky bluegrass, which is Mazama and Everest. They're supposed to do well in the shade and it still just doesn't cut it. Back here in this area, it gets shade most of the day. It only gets it a little bit in the morning, and then basically it's covered by shade. And the Kentucky bluegrass never did good back there, but this perennial ryegrass does amazing in the shade over here. So it's hard to find a grass type that does good with everything. So you just kind of have to pick your battles and do your research on what is gonna do well for your area and your conditions. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you know I like to go crazy heavy with the overseeds, especially with perennial ryegrass. I'd rather have this stuff grow in very well and thick when I put in all this work than to have a sparse, thin lawn after putting down not enough seed and just being disappointed. I can always go back and thin it out if it's too thick, like if disease pressure starts creeping in because grass blades are like growing on top of each other where it's just like a pure carpet, then you might just want to go in and thin it out with a light dethatching. But I just like going on heavy, just what I do. Now, for those of you that watched the last video, you know I hate this thing. I have to bring it back still. Zeke has my spreader right now, so I have to use this today, which I'm reluctantly doing. I hate this thing. Don't ever buy it, you guys. Avoid Scott spreaders at all costs. So I'm gonna put in 10 pounds per 1,000, which is pretty heavy. So I'll leave 5 pounds left because this is a 25-pound bag, and I use Zeke's grandpa's trick to open this because I couldn't get the stupid string to work. 0 other crop, 0 weed seeds in this stuff. Pure 100% seed.
It's a new day, but it all feels old. It's a good life, that's what I'm told. But everything, it all just feels the same.
So this is what the coverage is looking like. Pretty thick, but it's not like insane where seeds just sitting on top of each other, you know? So this should come in pretty good. There's seed in every bare spot you look at. That's what we're going for. Here's another area just. So you can kind of see what I go for. This is almost like perfect. All right, next we're gonna lightly rake this in, and then I'm just gonna put a little peat moss on the bare areas and we're gonna call it good. So we're not gonna roll it in just because the ground's sandy. It's not really gonna do a whole lot by pushing it in the ground. So we're just gonna rake it in, put a little peat moss in the bare area so it doesn't wash away with the irrigation, and we are done with this overseed.
Everything's so blurry and everyone's so fake.
Well, my rake completely snapped on me, so we're gonna do a little experiment. We'll rake this side, we won't rake over there, and see if we can, if there's a difference. Like we might need it, like we might be able to skip this step. So let's see, let's just do a little experiment. I'm not gonna rake that in over there. I'm just gonna put peat over those bare spots and we're gonna call it good. Real quick, you guys, now that the sun is down, look at these lime green trib spots. Holy herpes of the lawn. That is disgusting. We definitely need to get rid of it, and it's coming over here too. Yeah, that needs to go. We can't let that spread anymore. It's nowhere else. Everything else is looking pretty dang dark, looking good. Good, 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 dark. Oh my God. What is that? What is that? Insane. Yeah, that just, it has to be killed. That's the only way to get rid of that. Have I ever told you guys how much I absolutely hate peat moss? Oh, this is the worst part, man. This stuff is old and dry. But I will say, I've tried not using peat moss on bare areas and it just doesn't come in as well as when you use peat moss. So here I am using it. All right, I'm not gonna go too crazy with this stuff because I have had very good success without peat moss, but just so you can kind of see what we're working with, I just put it in the really bare areas, like the area that was covered by leaves and it was kind of that whole dead area and the spot up here, the corner, and then along this line here. But there are still some bare areas, like here, this is pretty bare, but I'm pretty sure all this will come in. I just covered the areas that were like basically pure dirt right here. So we still should get some very good germination. If there's any bare spots that pop up, I'll just throw some seed on there and a little peat moss after. But the majority of all the big bare spots are covered with peat. All right, I want to put down some Neighbor's Envy on the front lawn to just even out everything. If you guys are new to the channel and haven't heard of Neighbor's Envy, this is a liquid fertilizer I created last year and it went absolutely viral and went crazy. This is the most polarizing product on the market. People love it. Some people say it's overpriced for what it is. There's 7 ingredients in this bottle. Basically, it's the concoction that I put together myself every time I sprayed my lawn. I wanted something in the concentrated form. Worked with a company to do that. Because of that, it's a little more expensive than some other fertilizers, but the stuff works. Just read the reviews online, see everything for yourself. The stuff is super good. It turns your grass crazy dark green. And it happens overnight. That's the best part about this stuff. And you don't have to mix all this stuff together yourself. There's just a lot of pros that come to this with this product. And it's the reason why it's so popular. So we are gonna put down Neighbor's Envy on the front to hopefully even out the color a little bit, just because that Scott spreader did a number on what the lawn looks like right now because it just wasn't an even spread pattern. So we're gonna put this down and by tomorrow we should have a more even colored lawn. Now, the label says to put down 16 ounces per 1,000. That is new this year because people were over applying it. So we brought the amount down for the first application. I'm just gonna do 12 ounces. I've already fertilized over there. It's gonna be a happy medium between the low rate and the high rate. So I'll do 12 ounces per 1,000, which equals 36 ounces. And we will go from there. This year I might try doing something a little different. I'm gonna go 2 different ways on my lawn. So I'm gonna put the pressure down a little bit lower on this backpack sprayer, so I can go north, south, east, west to try getting my liquid applications more even as well. I do the same thing with the spreader. I might as well do it with the liquid. I've noticed I'm not always perfect when I put my spray pattern down. I think that's gonna help with that as well. Shout out to the West Coast buddy for this again. I'm not gonna put an application of Neighbor's Envy down in the back. I'm just gonna do it on the main lawn today. I'm gonna save that for another day. Make sure you stir this stuff up. There's a lot of different stuff in here. Mix it very well. This is a very good product as well for you cool season guys during the summer when you don't want to push growth as much when it's like blazing hot. Put this down at an 8 to 10 ounce rate and you're going to get some great results through summer and you're not going to push too much growth and it's not going to really, you're not going to really increase your disease pressure. So you're putting down just small amounts of nitrogen at once. This is 15 hours after putting down Neighbor's Envy. My goodness. Insane results. Lines where it was lighter are already gone. Just way more even. Look at that color. All right, that's gonna do it for today. That was a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna start the water until the kids are done playing on the basketball hoop, but I just wanna thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, there's gonna be plenty to do on this channel. I have a whole list of things lined up, coming up on the vlog channel, so stay tuned. Thank you guys again. We'll see you next time. Bud, sander drying you? Go. Oh, I missed it. Go.
I want to see the one before that. I want to see the one before that.